All right, folks. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, I bought AMD this morning and we put a spread on it. I told people last night, hey Doc, how you doing? All right, Jonathan, let's go. Let's just turn to things. Carrie, you still dragging in the dough? I love it, baby. Love it. I'm having a great time with Fred. Me and Fred's we're spending you call it an emotional session. We're all the things that get in the way of making money. Past performance is not indicative of future results. In my opinion, market's going higher. I can't make it any simpler than that. Hey, we only got 3 days to 21st. Wait to Sunday night. I'm putting together something that's going to blow your mind. Blow your mind, in my opinion. All right, here's a lesson from my second book, The Markets Never Sleep. Golden keys to unlocking the secrets of the financial markets. Now, we're going to do a little different today. I'm going to let Jonathan talk and go through these lessons, and I'm going to listen, and we'll go from there. Take it away, Jonathan.
Thanks, Tom. These are lessons from Tom's book, chapter 10.
Hey, 9:20.
Tom, mute yourself.
Don't sell this thing. $15.
I'll mute Tom for him. 3 factors to select a trade. Call it the 3 pillars of trading. Time of day, key numbers, and market indicators or market tools. First one is the significance of time. Now, the basics of this is, when you enter the market, if there's no liquidity or no movement, it's going to be tough to make money, right? As a trader, traders want movement. Tom developed a very repeatable methodology based around this fact, around key times when the market will move during the day. Here's a must read. It's the reference bar white paper. You can get there by going to dtitrader.com/WP. I'll type that into the chat. Now you'll find all of our white papers there, but the one labeled reference bars is the one in terms of learning what reference bars are. That's what you need to focus on. There's actually 2 you should read, especially if you're just going to read 2, although you'll probably read all of them. But if you're just going to read 2 of them, read the 7 Sisters white paper and then read the reference bar white paper. That will go a long way to you starting to understand Tom's methodology. Here's the reference bar times during the day. We start with when the futures market opens up at 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's called Globex Open. But we use that reference bar as a guide throughout the Asian time frame. The Asian markets don't open up for another hour or 2, depending on what time of year after 6 p.m. But that first 30 minutes is our reference bar 1. It's important to track what Asia's doing once they do get it fired up and going. Then we move on to reference bar 2, which happens during the European time segment. We placed it at 4:30 to 5 a.m. Eastern time. Tom wanted to get past the news from Europe, so that's properly placed there. Give us a guide throughout Europe. Now, pre-market trading in the U.S. historically has opened up at 7 a.m., so Tom placed his 3rd reference bar of the day at 7 a.m. We call it RBX. The reason why it's labeled RB1, 2, 3, 4, and then XYZ, RB1, 2, 3, 4 have historically been Tom's 4 main key reference bars. And over the years, he's added more. And so because the additional ones are fit in between the original ones, we couldn't name them a number. We gave them X, Y, Z. So that's why you see that pattern there. RB1, 2, X, 3, Y, 4, Z. But they all fall at key times during the day. And the next key time after RBX is the cash open in the US, which is 9:30 Eastern time. We call that RB3. Now after that, we've got RBY, which over recent years, we'll actually study this in a moment, might be the most significant reference bar of the day. We call it Genesis for that reason. It's not labeled Genesis here on the slide, but you'll hear Tom call it Genesis all the time. And I'll tell you why here in just a moment. But that's RBY at the European close, when the European markets close down. Then we return in the afternoon for RB4. US traders return from lunch. Tom likes to call it the California market. Kick off the afternoon trading in the US. And we close out the day with the final 30 minutes reference bar with RBZ. With all these reference bars, you can see the trend of the day accelerate or reverse. They're key times during the day, placed there for very specific reasons. Like I said, one of the most useful insights that we focused on for the past year or more is Genesis. That's that RBY from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time. So all the reference bars 30 minutes. That's when that one occurs. The significance of it is the European markets close down at 11:30. When the European markets close down at 11:30, it's the very first time all day that essentially the US markets, the US traders, they get to have their say in where they want to push and pull the market, and with no outside influence. So Asia's already long closed, Europe just closed down, and now the US traders can say this is where we really want to move the markets. So here's the essential insight on time of day. When the key markets around the world are opening or closing, volume will pick up and the market tends to move. So pay attention. You should come away with this lesson. If you come away with this lesson with that insight alone, it's going to make you a better trader. It's going to help you in your day-to-day trading and your decision making. Now, the second pillar, how to find key numbers. Now, most of our key numbers come from opening prices, which include the yearly open, the monthly open, the weekly open, the daily open, the reference bar opens. Now, the yearly open is very important when we start the year, and usually it stays important for the first quarter at least. Many years, when the market moves away from the year open, as we get further and further into the year, it may start to hold less and less significance. That's why we narrow it down to the monthly opens. So every month we get a new month open, which means that if you think about every month as the start of a new race, stocks have a chance to prove themselves over and over again every month. There's one month in particular that we'll be getting to here before too long. It's the start of the fourth quarter, October, which can essentially, Tom will say that it acts like another new year open. All right, the fiscal fourth quarter starts as essentially a new year open. So October gets kind of an extra asterisk in terms of that regards to that. But every month is very, very important in terms of what stocks are doing. Maybe we'll get through a couple here as we talk about some of the tools that we use. Now, other significant key numbers are highs and lows. And you ask, what highs and lows? Well, here's the most important ones. We'll start the month with what we call the first 3 days algo, FTD algo. That's the first 3 trading days of every new month. So I'm not talking about calendar days. The first 3 trading days of every new month is a critical high and low frame to understanding how the month goes. All right. You got some people asking for the slides. Let me share that with you real quick. So the first 3 trade days of every new month are very, very important. What happens is they form a high and low range. All right. A high and low range. And we look for stocks to break out of that range to the upside for bullish, or lower than that range to the downside for bearish. We've got and we do a lot of our trading from that. We have a trade server specifically focused on that called the Afterburner Alerts. NVIDIA was our stock of the month there, and this morning it hit our 60% profit mark on that trade. So another good month in the Afterburner, but it's strictly focused on this first 3 days process. We've got this spreadsheet here that I'll click on. And it's slide number 19 from the deck I just posted in the chat. This was last updated yesterday night, so let me get it updated for today. So just bear with me there for a second. Looks like some of the edits I made yesterday didn't save on my roadmap software, so I'm going to have to make sure I got all the stocks here before I copy and paste everything. Let's see here. All right, I think I got everything. Let's get this updated. Nope, missing one. Let me figure out what's missing from this list. Tom keeps adding stocks to it, and for some reason my roadmap's not saving my progress here. Ah, Netflix. That's the one right there, Netflix. Okay. These are stocks of note, futures and stocks of note that Tom's tracking during the month of July. We keep this spreadsheet updated. Every time Tom goes live, I try to get it updated so we can take a look at it. So stocks will change as the months go along. That's a neat little worksheet we set up here to keep you informed about what's above the first 3 days algo, pointing higher, and what's below the first 3 days algo and pointing lower. Now, look at that NASDAQ. It's got above its first 3 days high today. We're a good bit into the month, or halfway through the month, but we're pushing into that July 21st date that Tom's been talking about. The NASDAQ's showing the early lead. As we scroll down the list, we can see silver's long, bonds are short, Bitcoin's long. And this long means that the current price is above the first 3 days high, the high from the FTD algo. The short on bonds means the current price is below the low from the first 3 trade days of the month. That's that simple. All right. Again, this spreadsheet is on slide number 19 of the deck that I posted a moment ago. I'll post it again. It will only update when I update it. If you would like to make a copy for yourself, which would mean that you would have to update it on your own. But if you'd like to make a copy for yourself, you can click on File at the top left and make a copy. It will make a copy to your Google Drive as long as you're signed into Gmail. But I'd imagine most people would rather just let me get this updated whenever Tom goes live so we can look at it together. Couple notable stocks that are long. There's Coinbase, crypto related. Black Sky is one, a new one from Tom. Circle. iBit is another crypto related. Microsoft was making new highs this morning. Netflix has earnings. Need to remind myself when Netflix earnings are. Is this week. I just can't remember what day it is. It's today after the close. Netflix has earnings today after close. So a little bit weak going into earnings, at least from on a monthly basis. Nvidia, probably the strongest stock out there, long. There's Palantir, long. Roblox, Oracle, TQQQ long, and SQQQ short. That says a lot about the market right there. Just those two. And here's another new one, Tom added XRP.
Hey, Jonathan, I got a story on XSRP. Bill Sample gave that to me and I lost $700, just experimenting with it, okay? And I watched it for 2 days. I came back into it and got my money back plus 10% interest. So I charged an interest the second round with it. That stock is one wild puppy, though. I'll tell everybody it's very risky, okay? But I think that Bill was right. Look at, for example, look at the high of the month, 28.42, and this morning it was trading at 57. That's crazy, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah, that one moves.
Yeah, it moves. So that's more that moves like a commodity the way that thing moves. Well, I guess it is a commodity based off Ripple and everything. But anyway, I was good. Hood is a trade I want to do. Where's Hood, Jonathan? Have you looked at Hood today? Oh yeah, look at it. Current price 106. I definitely want to do that trade after Genesis. That's a Genesis trade today. If you remind me, Jonathan, okay? On Hood.
Hood. I got the reminder.
Okay. Great lesson. I mean, can you believe, folks, I wrote that over 20 years ago? I mean, that was a great lesson. That book's worth its weight in gold. I'm telling you, that markets never sleep, especially now in this day and time. I mean, goodness gracious. All right, pick it back up, Jonathan. I'll go back to listen. I just want to chime in.
The same high-low process we follow for the month, you can narrow it down on a weekly basis by taking Monday's high and low. You look for the same thing, look for stocks to move out of that range and then move down out of that range for short. Tom's got a real good trade service called Tuesday Power Plays that's based on this insight right here about the weekly movement of stocks. So we watch the market on Mondays. Tom finds his top 5 stocks in that Tuesday Power Play service. And then on Tuesday, he sets trigger numbers to get in. And if the trigger numbers are usually above Monday's high, they got to get above Monday's high to trigger. All right. And if they get in, we get in, throw a target out there, and get out no later than the end of the week. So the week start high and low insight is very important to Tom's Tuesday Power Play service. It's what powers it. And again, it's a fantastic service called Tuesday Power Plays. We narrowed down our focus intraday to reference bars. Now, reference bars are 30-minute bars throughout the trade day. I've already discussed when they occur, but the highs and lows of the reference bars are also important. All right. We'll go live here in a little bit, but now having indicators or tools that work, the goal should be to help you more quickly reach a conclusion for long, short, or out. That's the basis of every tool that Tom has developed over the year, and that includes MTI by DTI, which is a fairly new indicator that can be installed on the Thinkorswim platform from Schwab. Let's look at that. This is a daily chart of AMD. As long as AMD continues right above those white MTI lines and the gray month open, AMD stock will stay strong. You can see here it's very strong. So the daily charts of MTI by DTI are based on that first 3 days process and the week start process that we just talked about. It's a proprietary indicator that you can add to your Thinkorswim platform. A lot of folks love this MTI by DTI with how simple it is. It also includes 30-minute charts or intraday charts, intraday indicators, MTI lines there on the chart with the white lines. Now, of course, with anything shorter term, the daily is going to be nice and smooth. Some people like that. Intraday is going to be a little bit more up and down, right? Depends on your flavor of trading. But the two sets work the same way. Above the MTI lines, you're thinking long. Below the MTI's lines, you're thinking short. Also included are scanners. So like this right here, AMD, it's above the MTI lines. So AMD would show up long on the MTI daily scanner. Unfortunately, it's not on my list here of stocks, but you have a daily column. That's the daily scanner so anything here that's green, we know it's above its MTI lines. Amazon's green, Costco is red. So Amazon's above the MTI lines, heading higher. Costco's below the MTI lines. Google higher, Meta lower, Nvidia higher. All right, then we have an intraday scanner, which tells you based off the 30 minutes. So again, if you look at that 30-minute chart, this is Palantir. It's above the MTI lines on the row here. Palantir for the intraday box is green. So the daily will tell you what's above the MTI on the long-term daily charts. The intraday scanner will tell you what's above or below on the 30-minute charts. So whether you like to read tables or whether you like to look at charts, MTI's got you covered. Now, if you want MTI by DTI, you can go to dtitrader.com/MTI. Probably Tom uses the daily and the 30-minute for intraday. Probably asking what time frame does Tom use for MTI? The daily and the 30-minute. The link, again, this can be added to your Thinkorswim platform, which has only grown in popularity since Schwab bought TD Ameritrade. You can add it, go to dtitrader.com/MTI to check that out and get involved, or give us a call at 904-706-3532. Now, MTI is not the only tool that we use by any means. Let's talk about the Roadmap software. Tom's been developing this for over 25 years. And his purpose, he found himself a programmer, a very good one, that could program anything that came out of his mind, essentially. And the Roadmap has features that you can't find anywhere else. And that's essentially why Tom created this program here, Roadmap software. The first is a custom page. It is a standard watch list, but there are key data points that we can add on here that you can't find anywhere else. So look at this column for RB Open. We talked about reference bars. Look at the top line, the S&P futures. Current price 63.17 when I took this picture. The reference bar open was 63.04. The open last night was 62.99. You see that progression of prices. Open last night, current reference bar is higher than that. Current price higher than both of them. That is a picture right there. Market heading higher. You can also add the month open, the yearly opens, the weekly opens, all sorts of, DTI methodology data points to this custom page that you can't find on any other watch list out there that I know of, at least. The trade tracker is based on the first 3 days process that we spoke about, where we want the stocks to get above the first 3 trade days of the month or below it. There's Palantir, all green. That's strong. QQQ, all green. That's strong. AMD, Nvidia, everything that's all green right here is pointing higher and very strong. Anything that's all red, which we don't have anything all red, is pointing lower. You can see bonds here. If they just fall another tick, they'll be all red across the board. So bonds are definitely weaker. But with this trade tracker, you can see for the month very quickly what's strong and what's weak. And that FTDHH and FTDLL, that's the high and low from the first 3 trade days of the month. The WS, high and low, that's that week start. So essentially Monday, high and low. This incorporates all of those insights into one single feature. The Compass charts include blue and white reference bars. That's what the blue bar and white bar here is. They include zones to tell you when stocks or futures are going into the buy zone. Bitcoin, when I took this earlier, was heading into the buy zone. Over here to the left, there's a metrics box that includes all of our key opens: month open, year open, week open, right? So you look at this chart on Bitcoin futures and you say, all right, it's above the year open, above the month open. Off the reference bar, we're heading higher. But look at this week open staring at us. We'd expect some sort of resistance at that week open. That's what it's there for, to remind you where these key opening prices are that act as support and resistance. All right, and also help you get on the right side of the market. You can't look at that chart right there and think short, that's for sure. It's above the blue bar. It's above the frame that we have marked out for you. It's entering into the buy zone. The last thing you're thinking now on Bitcoin futures is short on an intraday basis. The ETR page is a tape reading. It stands for electronic tape reader. All right, electronic tape reader. And by the way, the roadmap software is completely separate. It's a completely separate software. It uses Schwab, Thinkorswim to run it as far as the data is concerned, but you're not going to trade through the roadmap. It's not connected to Thinkorswim in any other way. So it's not like MTI. MTI is an indicator that goes on to Thinkorswim. The roadmap software is a much more powerful, completely separate software, but it does use, not confusing, but it does use Schwab data to run it at no charge on a monthly basis. So that's really nice there from Schwab. The electronic tape reader, though, gives you key opening prices on a 30-minute basis. So if we just look down this column here, looks like I took this picture a little bit before we went live. And if you look on here, what's the highest opening price we see on the S&P futures? I see 63.19 as the highest opening price. Now, if I go look at the market right now, the S&P is at 63.20. So we've eclipsed that highest opening price. Now, I don't know what the 11 a.m. Eastern Time open is, but we'd have to go live to see that. But we've eclipsed the highest price on this ETR page, and that's certainly a bullish look. So the ETR page is a great feature to keep track of the market. You can quickly glance up there to see green or red, and also, are we trading near the highest open or even higher than the highest open, or are we trading to the low side? The mini pivot is going to be your most recent 30-minute open, and the ETR line is going to be your current price. Now, that's 3 or 4 features of the roadmap. There's more than 50 in there, a lot we didn't cover today. But again, the roadmap is an incredible software. It's Tom's mind all packed into one software. If you want to dig in and really use Tom's methodology, you gotta get this roadmap software. So you can go to dtitrader.com/roadmap to get it. Again, you can give us a call, 904-706-3532. And Tom, I think that's the last slide. We are live on YouTube. You can go to dtitrader.com/YouTube and refer to the live tab to catch the recording. But I know Tom wants to come on and give some final thoughts about today's lesson. Tom's teaching a one-on-one this week. So he's actually been teaching a one-on-one or teaching a small class for the past week straight, I think. So Tom's been a busy man, if you will, here lately. And perhaps he'll come back on and give a final wrap up here any moment. Tom, give us your thoughts on the market. Give us your thoughts on the lesson. We're going to finish up here.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. Hey, folks, if you're in Genesis program, be looking at 12 to 12:30. I'll be putting out a trade there in Genesis. Market looks real good. Remember, we're going into I guess the warm up period for Monday, and I've got a big plan for next week, and I'll try to get the schedule out Sunday night for everybody. But I got to tell you, I'm so excited. I mean, I just can't contain myself, okay? Because, I think we've done fairly decent already this month, but I really think it's a real big opportunity. And last night, I came up with a new thing I'm working on too. I call it the T-Buzz Dividend Wheel. And I'm going to put that together. Nothing's going to be like it. It's going to be just weeklies that pay you. And so that's going to be coming good. And this lesson he pulled out of that book, that was written, 2005, 20 years ago. So you might say I'm consistent. Anyway, I wanted to say thanks, Jonathan. I love sitting there listening to you. You did such a fantastic job. And I think it's time, let's go get some lunch and come back and look at this market this afternoon in Genesis. Jonathan, I don't have anything else today, do I?
Tell them, let me check the schedule real quick, just to be sure. You got your one-on-one going, so we don't want to.
Yeah.
Back
Oh, we're having a great time. Great time. In fact, he's already decided he's coming back again, so that's great too.
That's fantastic. The rest of the day is open in terms of the schedule time.
Okay. And I like AMD, and I might have another trade there. And obviously, I like NVIDIA and NVDW. You got to get that ball if you want the dividend for next Tuesday. And then, but anyway, all right. I might call a special flash meeting. I doubt it, but I think what I'm going to do is do some work on my dividend wheel. And Jonathan, I need to talk to you sometime when we get a break. But we got the tools, just got to use them. And I think if you contact Barbara at DTI Trader, you can definitely get that roadmap. You got to have the roadmap. It's great. In fact, I couldn't trade without it. All right, y'all have a great day. I'm gonna have some lunch, try to make some money, and see you on the flip side. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.